Hi guys, and welcome to another Matthias Sewing Corner. Today I have a really fast tutorial for a simple summer dress that doesn't have any, it's actually not going to need any pattern making skills because it's made out of rectangles, and all you need is very simple pattern for a t-shirt and a skirt. How I actually figured this out was because I actually have this skirt. I'm going to show you to you how it looks in full length. So I have this skirt for a couple of times now, and I wear it, but I also have a top that matches this skirt, and it doesn't look very good. So even though I wear this skirt a lot, I would be wearing it much more if it was a dress. And the idea that came over to me, or the idea that I kind of figured out after some time, is maybe it would be nicer to have a dress than a two-piece that I wear one and I don't wear another one. So I'm going to show you now what I have and how it looks like, and what's the idea of actually making from that. So stay tuned. After cutting everything off and taking the thread out of it and taking the elastic from the casing inside, I got left with 4 pieces of literal square. So this was a sleeve. So we have 2 of those. This is the front bodice of the actual top, and this is another sleeve, and this is a skirt. So I've taken all the elastic and all the casings out. So now what I'm going to do is I will be using a elastic thread to actually thread this and to make it as a garment. So what you want to do is you just want, for testing how much fabric do you want, because you want to be on the right track. So this is the elastic thread that I will be using, and I'm not quite sure how much does it take from the fabric. So it can go all the way up to, like, it's very elastic. So I just want to make sure how much fabric do I need to add or subtract to get the fabrics that the look that I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do here is just going to use this cotton that is quite similar to this one here as well. Has the same amount of stretch or no stretch, and it's kind of the same thickness, let's say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away like 10 centimeters like this. 10 centimeters. So I know this is like 10 centimeters, and I'm going to cut away this little piece of fabric, and I'm going to run a few stitches of elastic thread on it to see how much is it going to shrink. So when you're doing this elastic thread, you have to put the thread on the actual bobbin, and you don't pull it a lot. You're just going to slightly pull it, like not like this, but like maybe 10%, and then you wind the bobbin with this thread. So now I'm just going to give it a try. So when you're threading the machine for the elastic bobbin, this has to be set to 4, so the length has to be 4. Another important thing is the tension. So the tension has to be set like to a lot. So it has to be a big tension. It cannot be loose. So I'm gonna adjust it to 9/8 here. So this is very important when you're sewing with elastic thread. So I have the machine threaded now with the actual bobbin, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece of fabric and run a couple of stitches to see how it's gonna look like. So this is the test. So I'm going to measure it now. See, it was 10 centimeters and now it's gone to 7. So this is how it looks now. So 30% is what you lose or what you need to add up to the measurements that you're having. I have to make sure to add 30% of fabric, so 30% extra fabric to the actual garment than the actual measurement. So my measurement for the front and the back all together is 86, which means that is 43 front, 43 back, let's say. And that means that you have to add around 30% to that one. 43 times 1.3. So that's 1.3, that's 30%, that's 55.90. You want to decide where your Bardot top is going to end. I usually have this notch here that I think is the best notch to end the Bardot. This is kind of a middle of your torso, or let's say the middle of the actual pattern. So you're going to lean it against the end, add allowance or seam allowance, so 1 centimeter of seam allowance has to be added here, and put it all the way up and just draw this here. So this is the Bardot top for the front. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now that we have this decided, you're just gonna cut them out. When it comes to deciding about the length of the piece for the front, you're going to take your measurement tool and place it here at the neck and just measure the way you want it to be along. When it comes to the front part and the sleeve part here, you're just going to decide, you're going to see where the notch is going to be on the sleeve by simply putting one on top of the other, so putting the bodice on top of the sleeve and just walk it here until you get the actual measurement for the notch of the sleeve, and you're just gonna mark it. A very important thing for when it comes to shearing and preparing the actual fabric is that you have to finish it. So I have overlocked each and every seam on these sleeves and on the front and the back bodice before I'm actually going to shear it. So first I'm going to finish the actual seams, I'm going to make hems, and then I'm going to shear it. Okay, now, so after an hour, I'd say, of shearing and trying to make the upper part or the bodice, this is what I have. So I decided to leave the sleeves like this because, to be honest, I don't have enough of elastic thread. This is how it looks like, and I'm just gonna give it a try to show you now how they look. And this is what's left on the bottom. So now here, what we have is the skirt has to be inserted here, sewn together, and the dress is finished.